Hey, good morning, guys, my friends, and I'm recording this on behalf of my beloved teacher, His Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda Swami. Today, I heard another story about him. Each day, I am fascinated by some of the stories that come out. I met him energetically first, and then I went to see him, so that itself was a phenomenal event in my life. I've been working with a lot of energy. I'm a clairsense. That is, I work with the knowing, and I developed these when I was a kid, like around 8 years of age. I used to play with. I think I was sent away to live with my grandparents because I either was not doing well in school, so my mother, instead of holding me back, sent to live with my grandparents. And that 1 year, I think I met in energy my spiritual teacher, because I was getting distracted, and I was getting involved in gossip and stuff. And I think I was given a very different direction, and I was told specifically to my purpose is to be a healer and to pay attention to my goals and reset myself again and again. And I was always guided. Whenever something was not right, I was given clear indication of changing courses. So I have multiple teachers, and Nithyananda Swami came at the right time when I needed the next level to reach. And the reason I got interested in involving with him is one of the things he said that made the click for me, like how they say, like, you entangle at that moment in your life physically, was when I saw his YouTube video. One of the things he said was, I think I'm blanking out. Anyway, so I'll come back to it. Okay. I think I want to make it so that it is clear to me as well, because when I'm talking, it's like almost like me rebooting, because I have to go back and say there are so many places I had evidence I met him, but in YouTube, a specific way he said kind of made sense, and that's why I followed it. But today, Swarupa Priyananda, who's my Mahant, like one of the things I'm learning with this organization is how to talk differently, because I think I'm so used to saying it another way. Because of marketing and stuff, we think of it as pyramid. And Swami Nithyananda says it's not a pyramid, it's a teamwork. So you have the ability to be more organized and responsible for your specific role in the cosmic oneness, cosmic consciousness. So we all come together as a team, but that does not mean I'm overseen by him or overseen by somebody. So he says touching the leg and all this is not even expected. People do it out of respect, but that's not expected. So that was very nice. So that made it easy for me. And also, like, he's very respectful. When I went in person, oh my God, the amount of tremendous respect he showed. My husband has never treated me like this. I was like stunned. I'm saying, oh my God, he treats me like more than a goddess. I mean, it's like he was amazing. If you go in person, you would enjoy that visit. But the cutest thing I heard was, it seems apparently he was in a quest to find his avataric mission. Like, I get only bits and pieces, so I'm going to share whatever I learned today. So he apparently encounters Babaji, who's a living enlightened being who wanders in Himalayas. I also came across Babaji's name in the past, and I have had a vision from him, but not necessarily physically, but our teacher, His Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda, apparently had a vision of him in Varna. I forgot that name. I think it was in Kashi. where the next Kumbh Mela is going to meet. And I forgot the name of that space. It starts with P. I'll post it in comment, okay? So apparently Babaji comes over, and he thinks it is a vision. So, but he wants to test it because he appears real. So he grabs him by his waist, and that's when he realizes he's, even though he's like floating, he's still in physical body. So he grabs it by his waist, and Babaji bursts out laughing because he's never had that type of encounter with anybody before. So he calls him Nithyananda, Paramahamsa Nithyananda. Paramahamsa is like you're born, like almost like it's a birth of that unmanifested egg type state to flow into life. So that's the way I understand. So he was given the title Paramahamsa Nithyananda. And Babaji merges with him and disappears. So he so cute. He thinks he needs to go study under Paramahamsa Nithyananda. So keeps going, asking everybody, who is Paramahamsa Nithyananda? He reminds me of myself. Like, if I excuse the word Swamiji, I'm clueless sometimes. That's the space he held, I guess. So he keeps asking around, and finally, after, like, everybody says, we have no idea who it is. He comes across another being, and I forgot. What is it? It's. I wish I remember the name, but anyway, the town name, So it's in Kashi apparently. So he goes and he asks, and one saint looks at him. He says, "That's you." I'm like saying, "Oh my God, that is hilarious." But anyway, so yesterday, and also the other hilarious part, right? Paramahamsa Nithyananda, he defines what Paramahamsa is. He says this hunter put a string between two trees, and he used to hunt so the bird will come and sit. So when the bird sits, it catches between the strings and it flips upside down. So the hunter waits for like 2-3 hours. Meantime, the bird tries to fly away, gets very tired and gives up. But he says if the bird had let go, it would have fallen down, and it would have at least been able to fly off. It would have never hit the ground because birds have the ability to always fly away. So he says, by not letting go, we are getting caught. So I wrote to him in my message, I said, so you mean to tell me that you want me to let go and become your biryani? I'm just kidding. I usually love to play around with him because I think he's so hilarious. Like whenever I talk to him, like, he makes me feel so funny because I can imagine this whole like all serious looking saint looking around by himself. Anyway, so yesterday he took us on a Kailash trip. So this should be awesome, right? So I posted all my notes. I usually have a tendency, because I speed read same way I speed listen. So I like type it very quick so that I'll post it. Not only for others, it's for me too, because when sometime I'm listening, I'm like more like a stenographer, divine stenographer. I will like type it. That's what Ganesh did. Like, when anything was recited, he'll break his husk and he'll, maybe I have his energy because he's a goofer too. So I write it down instantly, because the minute you put the words in the paper, it is anchored in your memory forever. So you can go back and, like, it's like having your own library, going back and reading. So by me doing that, by thousand eyes, like, if it comes across, it anchors it more and more, the essence and the deeper understanding and stuff. So I feel the more I share, the more I get. So I do it for both ways, to contribute and also to make it like very, very deep through my bone marrow, the listening, so that I have it like dug down into my truth. So I'm gonna tell what happened. Okay, yesterday it was called MahaSadashivoham continuing education. So Swamiji asked whoever was his alumni to participate. So he said, we are going to go on a Kailash trip. And so that announcement came, which was a surprise. They actually suddenly announced. And this was the first 31-day MahaSadashivoham batch. They started, I think it started on March 31st, which is the first full moon that is very powerful. There are three full moons that's very powerful during the beginning of the year. One is the Panguni, which is when the fortune goddess, when the churning of good and bad happens, she's born out of this. And Sadashiva, drinks that poison. That's why he's called blue-throated. The reason is he takes responsibility for negative consequences of this churning, and he let the goodness follow. So it's like higher beings are watching over us, and even if something goes wrong, they are responsible for it. And so the goodness starts from that full moon day, which is March 31st. That's one thing. The second thing is, the other way they say is when the year ends, the higher beings come together in Himalayas, and they make like a bookkeeping, and they say, okay, how much good happened, how much bad happened, and if the bad is like going more than many people can handle, the goodness will overwhelm. So they will do like a new agenda creation, and that's called Vishak Festival, WESAK, in Himalayas. That's a very big Buddhist tradition. Even Christ comes, all the Buddhist saints. Christ is considered Mahayana, starter of Mahayana Buddhism. He apparently after resurrection went and he started the whole Buddhism process to unite the whole world in oneness. So that is the start of that Buddhism. It's called Maha, means great. Yana is vehicle, great vehicle. And then in India, they call it Vishak, Vaigasi Vishakam. That is when Subramanya, he actually through the spleen actually finishes its energy in tip of the tongue. That's why when people talk a lot, they get exhausted. It's because we disperse the energy through that. But Subramanya can program us so that tip of the tongue, he will open up our Vyoma chakra. Vyoma chakra. He has like a trident, and he will put it in the tip of the tongue. And once that chakra opens, you can open up access to all the world's knowledge is not hidden, and you can be fine-tuning. Anything you say will be sweet, correct, precise. So he is an authority to reset the whole world. And he's Shiva's bioenergetic son, and his birthday would be Vaigasi Vishak. So that's again the special moon next month, and which is following this. So let's say April, May, June. All three are very, very significant for anchoring all these. So the birth of ideas will happen, and then anchoring, or a formalization, and then we will have the whole agenda to run further. So it's like a planning board for the whole year would be reset. So it was very significant for me to attend the Kailash trip. And I was so under Vyoma Chakra. I think Swami Nithyananda was so kind enough that he opened it for me, and I'm so grateful for that, which he did, I think, last year. I forgot. He does like so many gifts for us indirectly, and I cannot even count like how much he's worked with us. So he said the main thing is not sleep is a myth. He says if you can understand that, you can break through time, and only in the space or from the level of space you can operate, like meaning like you don't need to be bound by even time, because you have unlimited source of energy. The only criteria he said we need is, if you stay up the whole night, you have to be fresh for the morning meeting. If not, then you have not overcome that sleep cycle. So I do get manic after full moon, like, my whole spiritual energy wakes up, and I'll do like tremendous, like, insight into project, because the more I finish, the more I'll get. So like I'll go into this like big manic cycle, and then I'll settle down and focus. By middle of May, I'll get like a sense of where I need to pursue. I kind of know what I'm going to pursue, but I'm going to share whatever I can. So we started, and they all said to follow this with a hashtag Nithyananda Satsang. These type of insights we got yesterday. And this was done April 1st, 2018, Indian time at night time there, and our morning time in US. I'm recording from Eastern Coast in Massachusetts. Swamiji began with his darshan, and he does his initial mantra, which he did include adishakti for a few months now. So he will say, Om Nithyananda MahaSadashivoham Nithyanandeshwari Adishakti Madhyamam Asmatacharya Guru Nithyananda Parayantam Vande Guru Parambaram. I added his name because I want to honor the channeling space where I'm coming from. I'm channeling him. So he said, welcome you all to experience Kailasha. He says, I'll breathe into your space. And he says, he made a aushadha. Aushadha means he created like a specific herb mixture, which I did it. I followed it, and I actually did it in magic butter. And I wrote to him saying, should I have it tested? He says, just trust, don't get it tested. So I did Bettle, neem, I think it is Bettle, neem, duruva, haritaki. I put in one more, camphor, I think. I added camphor. And he does it. Camphor, how did he do it? I forgot. He did some other way, but I added camphor on my end, which the temple gave from the Vishnu's forehead. I have a special place with the priest, so they either think I'm nuts or they think I'm good. So either way, I get a special treatment. My husband says, you're so special, you need a special bus. So that's a qualification for getting these. So he said, keep it between teeth and let the juice seep. So what I do is I get some vegetarian capsules, and I think I might have that bottle which I made because I took the tincture out, and that's my betel leaf juice, which I made in magic butter. So I poured it into my capsules. A little. So I have like empty vegetarian capsule, and I'll pour it just before I drink, because of that vegetarian capsule will melt. So then I did it that way, and I also had a haritaki capsule. So like I buy the powder and I make my own haritaki capsules, and my son made it for me this time. So I used one side haritaki, one side Beetlejuice. So then when he started that, I immediately started feeling a cool sensation, like how you do Icy Hot, like, this space when he was breathing us in, it felt so cool. And I'm going to show, this is what they were showing it on the video, and you could see, like, it was so powerful, the music and the meditation per se. And this is what they showed. Let me see. And you can see, right? So it was phenomenal. And like, so then what happened was afterwards, like, it was all my experience, and obviously, like, my experience is my own. So each person would obviously had a different the way they will describe this. So I was ascending, and when I was ascending, I felt Swamiji was staying like if Swamiji, it almost looks like Swamiji is this way. So I was ascending from his left side, so his heart side, D side. So if you do, D is the fire the Nataraj will hold. So I felt I was on the D side. D is supposed to be the brilliance or the sun-like state, and a Shangu side. So if you look at Vishnu, you will have the conch on the left side. So that's the side I was ascending, and I was greeted by Paralakshmi. So the greeting happened through Lakshmi, which for me was a surprise because I didn't expect to see her there. So it was nice. But she's my cosmic mother. She's my spirit mother. So I could see that she was greeting me, and Kala Bhairava also was on the entrance. And surprisingly, my mom was also there. My mom always, shows up to validate that I'm in a safe space. And I did see my dad eventually, not my dad is alive, my mom is not alive. So um, I think they were showing me between this dad and mom, like multiple cycles, because my mom, uh, the way Swamiji was doing, my mom, it looked like she was on a bike running around, catching up. It's almost like she didn't want to miss whatever is going on. So maybe if I miss something, she'll come back afterwards and kind of fill in those gaps for me. Not now, I think for me it is time and space. It eventually, for me, one of the thing I know is knowledge is not hidden from me. Knowledge is given. So it's only for me to be receptive to accept that type of thinking. So the minute I say, okay, I'm ready, there'd be like a downpouring of information, and processing takes a longer time. So my mom was doing that, scrolls, she was going through fast to keep track, so that we will be gathering information together. I saw Narshima was facing my dad. So if this is my dad on the right side, I could only see his face. This side was Narshima. He was yelling, you could see him. And my dad was very calm, he was not um, afraid or anything. But I think my dad has lots of process he is going through. So it looks like Narshima, whatever he is facing, is a direct result of him being perfected to reach that level. And Narshima is my dad's favorite. They call it Ishta Devata. So my dad loves it. It's half beast, half man. And yesterday I was in the temple, and my birth star is Ashwini. And he said even Ashwini, like, we are attracted to animal faces, like horse face, or um, the energies with half man, half beast type of almost like interspecies communication. And then there was still cool feeling, very, very cold, like almost how you feel when you're in Himalayas, or when you're in the snow. And then Swamiji breathed, and when he breathed in the mic, he did. When he does that, immediately it gets warmer, so you don't get really chilled to the bone. And he made it immediately. Our body temperature came back. Initially, I held back. I could feel my head being pulled, like it almost looked like somebody was dragging my head. And I have a tendency to fight back, till rigidly hold back. But then after that flower, I mean, no, not the birds. He says how you resist and not letting go. That reminded me, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna let go, be the bird like he wanted me to be. This he teaches in Nitya Kriya Yoga. If you guys can attend Nitya Kriya Yoga 5 days, it's worth it. It's $250. He teaches how 7 ways to die. What are the 7 bodies we leave behind? And I think I got so much out of that meditation workshop. So when I let go, the ascension was much, much easier. the cool feeling was continuing, and I saw Swamiji. See, in physically also, Sadashivoham 2016. During the 10th day, they call it Teppam, meaning like they were doing a float on the Vaidya Sarovar near the big meditation Anandalinga. They had the float with deity Parameshwar, and Swamiji was standing right in front of me. Like, it was like 2 steps down. I think he was doing it deliberately. He usually places this. I didn't know that, but he had his back to me, and I think he was giving me time to take him in, not to feel intimidated because I was not opening up. I think he wanted to know me more, and he was giving instructions to them. So that's the exact space I was brought back to, and that time only I saw like this. If you see, I'm gonna bring this. This is Sadashiva entra. So it looked like Swamiji's back was like this, and it was like a gold crown, and you could see that in the back of it, and his jatas were there. And I almost felt the roughness, as though I'm sitting inside his jata. Like you could see that closeness. And he was to the front. Swamiji was to the front in this vision which I had. I see Swamiji with his jata and his girdam from his back. I'm behind him with thousand faces of Sadashiva facing me from this girdam. And I felt I was in his jata itself. Feels very comforting knowing we are held that close to him. And also his form was very, very huge that time. So if I was able to sit there like this, meaning just stand, I have no idea what I was doing. But he was huge. Like he is great. Like if I was in that space, I was like so tiny, like this, and so you can imagine like how huge his form was when he showed that aspect of himself. And it was a pure space of compassion because I didn't feel anything except like almost like tearing up. That was so sweet. And my profile through that space, I can see I am facing to my left. So from that space, when I zoned in, I could see me again, like this, so my left side, so his greetum was like this, let's say, okay, that is the back of his head, and my back of the head was like this, and the same posture, like how he has the same greetum I have, and so my divine vision and intuition is coming from this side. But this side, I'm slapping on, it almost like I peel it off and put another mask on, peel it off, put another. Initially, I was thinking, what is that? And then until I saw like almost like a monkey face coming on. And I said, oh, that's my evolution. Like I have been taking multiple births, peeling off. But the oneness space I held with him, which is that 90-degree angle, reflecting the exact thing he is doing. So I felt I was connecting always in that channel space, one space, no matter which birth it was. And that was really beautiful. And I was able to see how each birth I'm evolving myself. And I see a baby like feet, like finally showing up, and it looked like it gets tucked into this womb like space. It was a purple space, and all the vibration stops, goes into that stillness space. And it had multiple legs, again and again pulling in, and a big bird with a beak, I could see its face. So it almost looks like I am in some sort of a nest, chucked in to that space. So the bird is guarding me, almost like I'm going back to the womb, the nest. And it was guarded by a big beak and a bird-like space, almost like a nesting place. Once I arrive, feels like a purple, fluffy space because the space was so light and all vibration stops. I know I have arrived. Feels like almost like I don't need to do anything more. I'm there. No more journey needed, pure stillness. There is nothing to hear, see. It's like how when you go to bed, like you reach that space. That's what it felt like. And it was also very, very light space, very, very high space. Then I suddenly felt everything is getting gross again, like meaning like vibration is very thick. I think, why is that happening? And I felt, actually, if I have to be specific, and I hope people take it the right way, God, if people are supposed to hear it, let it be said properly. And if people are not in the right space, let this word be blurred from them. So I see a chi-like space opening up in Swamiji, and it rotates, and it is sending out multiple blessing, almost like a personal relationship he's holding with everybody. But the way I visualized it is like how they said this, they called him Agor. I forgot, like this guy is able to pull the vehicle in Kumbh Mela with his male organ, genital organs. And I felt Swamiji was joking around by doing it in a way the world is mocking him, sending vibration that way. And it felt like a sprinkler, like you could see him, like, sprinkle like million. It felt like it was Vishwarupa Darishanam, but in another level. He sent out multiple connections to everyone who felt they had a personal connection. And I'm watching it from this side. So Swamiji is in the middle. So that side is all his devotee experiencing it and the bright light. And I could also see on the back, he's always maintaining that oneness space with Sadashiva. And that's when he said, open up your eyes. And so that's when I realized, oh, the thing ended. So that would make sense that it was a different space, because it was not like the same light space. And I, out of curiosity, I opened my eyes, because I was saying, what the heck is Swamiji doing? And then that's when I saw he already had his eyes open, and he was saying, okay, let's all radiate with the authenticity, integrity, authenticity, responsibility, and causing, enriching with Sudat Vaita Saivam, Sadashivoham, eternal bliss, Nithyanandam MahaSadashivoham, be blissful, he says. It was an amazing, amazing experience. And I think I know for sure I would go back and see him, but I think I'm going to do more like YouTube ministry and YouTube charya. He says charya is being organized. Okay, organized on YouTube, because I put myself acharya, head of the organizer. Before even I got into kindergarten, I became the head. Actually, when I joined one hospital, right, the first day I went to park, he says, employee of the month. I parked there. I have very big aspirations. So I posted it originally as YouTube Acharya, but actually it's YouTube Charya, because I want him to nominate me, not to nominate myself. And this finishes my enriching. Like, enrichment means sharing what I found very rich about this experience. Enrichment. So en means in Tamil mind, but actually in English, like, enrichment is another way you say it. But so both way it works. And I really loved this session. Thank you, Swamiji, for giving us this experience. And thanks you for, in spite of us not being in person, to be able to experience all this space with you. I really, 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 really love you. So thank you so much. MahaSadashivoham. Sri Nithyananda Swami, thank you for being my guide and my teacher, and creating that oneness space with you to be your channeler. Nithyananda. Thank you.